there be co-op workbenches? It's been on the board for ages. We talked about it. We thought we were going to do it. We kind of looked at it a bit more. We decided that it's going to be a huge amount of work. The game's fundamentally made without co-op workbenches. It's something I've experienced jumping onto multiplayer servers. I've been kind of surprised. I never imagined that the part of the game would be such a big part of the game. As you jump on a server and there's like 4 or 5 people stood around the workbench, they're all building. And I never thought, oh, well, multiplayer is obviously for going and crewing a vehicle and going on an adventure together. And then actually, a lot of players really enjoy the building while talking to other players, building and helping other players learn to build, building and then showing off what they're building to other players, and having that kind of interactions and the kind of like social interaction with the building stuff. So co-op building is a major feature that I really wish was in Stormworks. It's a big feature to add. So while I'm not saying that we'll never do it, it's not immediately on our to-do list. Again, it's going to be a hell of a lot easier to add that into not Stormworks 2 than it is to retrofit and rebuild the vehicle editor to work with this kind of multiplayer aspect.
Right, so the crux of the question there was, will you add multiplayer workbenches? And so he talks about how the part of this that is most interesting to me is it's kind of, Deltar talks about what he envisioned for multiplayer. I'll come back to this now and again. You know, they envision multiplayer as you would get on with your friends and you would crew a ship together. So you'd have one ship, maybe a couple ships spawned in game, and you and, say, 5 friends would get on that one ship and you would crew it, or get on the 2 ships and crew it. You know, maybe you get on the ship, one person would be responsible for flying the helicopter, another one would drive a skiff. The third person would be kind of the engineer running around running systems, and then somebody might be actually steering the ship. That was kind of their vision for what multiplayer was, from what it sounds like. And so, you know, this will come into play with some of the other things that people do in multiplayer. For example, I think this is why multiplayer on a public server is so laggy, is they never envisioned people, you know, each person on a server spawning their own ship, crashing ships into each other, spawning 2 ships into one another. And so that's why I think we have kind of a disconnect there sometimes on the multiplayer servers, is people all wanting to spawn their own vehicle, and I don't think the game can just take that much on a multiplayer environment. For example, my community lately, we've been having the members come on, and we've been doing fishing together, and you know, 5 or 6 of us can fish in one vessel, or even today we did 3 vessels, no problem. And we're able to have no problem, no desync, no lag. I'm hosting it on my PC. Most of the people were thousands of miles away from me. We had 0 lag. And so this was kind of an important answer to me, because it talks about what their vision was for multiplayer, and how some people, especially on the public servers, will play it in a way that I don't think, frankly, the game can handle. And because it was not designed to do that. He talks about how, you know, this was a desired feature. It was on the poll. They would like to add it. It's a lot of work, and it may come, but it is not currently on their to-do list. The game is probably, if I were to guess, not capable of doing this. I don't think it's necessarily possible. I think it would take huge rewrites to be able to make the game so you could have a multiplayer workbench. And Deltars talks about how, you know, this could be something in not Stormworks 2. So I would doubt this is coming. I don't think it's probably possible in game, you know, and I think it is going to be something that's very taxing on the system. So interesting answer there. I think the most interesting thing for me was how they envision people to play multiplayer. That's kind of how I play multiplayer, and how some of the communities playing multiplayer in a way that I don't think is just really possible with the game. You know, if you have 20 people on a multiplayer server and they're all spawning Titanics that were in XML workbenches, there's just no way the game can handle that, and I don't think it ever will be. So, you know, when people just say fix multiplayer, or fix lag, or multiplayer is broken, I think that's what they're talking about, is they're expecting things out of multiplayer that the game will never and frankly should never support, is just you can't have 20 people with all these ships. There's just too much logic. There are too many blocks. There's a block limit in game for a reason, and when you spawn 20 different ships, you're going to hit that block limit, and the game's just not going to be able to handle it.